Hi, my name is Chef Robert Sevely, and welcome back to Flavor of Riverside. Today we're doing French desserts. Now we're gonna make pastry cream. What I have to do to make pastry cream is kind of like you do with creme brulees, is we're gonna start with 2 cups of cream, and we're gonna get that into a pot, and we're gonna bring that up to a boil or a simmer. We need a vanilla bean. You can use vanilla extract on this if you would like. I like to use a vanilla bean. You just get a lot better flavor out of it. So I'm going to take that vanilla bean and strike it down lengthwise. And then utilizing my knife to scrape along the opened end of it. And I'm going to put these right into the pot, like so. So that's all the vanilla bean paste that's inside of there. Now, never throw this away unless you've cooked it. So I'm going to throw these in, but I just wanted to say that if I just wanted to use those in there, and then I wanted to put this in, like, say, vanilla sugar, or make vanilla sugar, and I wanted to just kind of bury them in a bowl of sugar. After a few days, that whole bowl of sugar will taste and be flavored with vanilla. The other thing I can do is like make my own homemade vanilla vodka. So, or even tequila for that matter. So I can take a bottle of alcohol and I would literally just put these in there, and within probably a day, 24 hours or so, you'll have vanilla vodka or vanilla tequila. So it's a lot of fun, you know. You can even make your own vanilla extract for that matter, which there again, a lot of people use vodka to do that, or you could end up using some sort of whiskey. A lot of times people will use, or bourbon, and you just shove a whole bunch of different vanilla beans in there and let it steep, let it sit for quite a few days, and then it'll just have so much vanilla flavor that you can use that in all your baking. All right, so next, we're gonna kind of follow along the procedure. So we have our egg yolks, and so this is gonna be 8 egg yolks. Here I have an egg. I'm gonna show you a different way of removing the egg yolk from this one. What most chefs will do is, you know, on TV shows and stuff, you'll show them kind of going back and forth, or they'll have a little tool that separates it out. But if you have clean hands and good washed hands, you just crack and you go right into your fingers, allowing the egg white to kind of separate through, and you can kind of pinch and get it all off of there. So then there's my egg yolk, and that goes in. So here again, cleaned up a little bit. And then to this here, I'm going to add, to the egg yolks, I'm going to add a pinch of salt. I'm going to add my ½ cup of sugar. And I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. I know it seems like a lot. Some chefs will prefer flour, but if this doesn't get added due to the whisking process that we have to go through, it's not going to fully thicken. It's going to be more thick like a sauce. It's not going to be something that you can pipe out of a piping bag. And so in goes the cornstarch. So to make sure that I don't get this all over myself, here again, you can see my cream is boiling, so I'm just going to shut that off. I'm going to start moving slowly on the egg yolks. And then I'm going to bring this to what we call a ribbon stage. And you could do this in a mixer if you prefer, you know. But I'm not really trying to like incorporate air. And you don't have to whisk as fast as I whisk. But you can see I got a nice kind of ribbon going. Everything's dissolved into the egg yolks. Okay, so now I'm going to take my cream And I'm going to add in the cream very slowly into the egg yolks. So here again, we're making a custard. All right, so we got to temper the eggs so they can handle the heat without scrambling. So once I get to this point, I can add them the rest of the way in. All right, so then from here, what I do need to get rid of is my vanilla bean itself. Oops. All right. And then I'm going to actually go with this mixture back into the pot and onto the stovetop. So then I'm going to use kind of like a medium to medium low flame on this. I don't want to be too hot. And this stove here pumps out the BTUs. But I want to be stirring constantly. Otherwise, I'm going to end up with very sweet, very thick scrambled eggs. And they're just going to go into the trash. Now, let me remove this a second. The other thing that I have, okay, is I also have an ice bath, okay, ready to go. That this is going to be set into. I'm going to set the whole bowl of pastry cream, the whole pan of pastry cream right into the ice bath is how I like to do it. So let's get this back on the stove and we'll start whisking. This is something that you have to stay with or else it overcooks, and you have to get it cold really fast or else it overcooks. And so you just kind of stay on top of it. All right, so custard is an egg and cream mixture. Don't be confused or think that like a hollandaise is a custard. All right? Hollandaise is closer to a mayonnaise than it is a custard, even though they both have eggs. And this isn't a cream sauce either, even though there's creams in it. Or, you know, another term that you'll see in French cooking is a liaison, where they'll utilize egg yolks to thicken soups and stuff. This is a pastry cream, and in French it's pâtissière de crème, or crème of pâtissière. And so pastry cream. So it's starting to thicken. And here, I'll grab a spoon. You guys can kind of see the thickness of it. All right. And now it's starting to thicken rapidly. So I'm just going to get in here and stir. And you can remove it from the flame if you have to. All right, nice and thick. And then I'm going to get it into here. And I'm going to keep stirring. Keep stirring. And good. Nice and thick. So now this is what I'm looking at as being pastry cream. It's still pretty hot, and you can see it went from a liquid to being thick really, really fast. Now, I probably cooked that a little quicker than you should all at home, but I only did that because sake of time. So I used a little higher flame than you guys should use. So stick at that medium to low flame. And so now what I want to do before I can use this is we don't want to serve it hot. We want to get it into the refrigerator. I'll put it into a dish and I'll just let it cool, and we'll use this later on in the show with our crepes and our eclairs and different stuff like that. So we'll be right back, and we'll see you in a minute. So now we're moving on to our next recipe. And this next recipe is called pâte à choux. It basically, like a lot of chefs call it choux dough or something like that. It's eclair dough or cream puff dough is what we're going to be making. And you can also make beignets with this as well. And so, so there's lots of different cool things that we can do. So what I'm going to do first is what's in here is it can either be milk, it can be water, it can be cream. I'd probably stay away from, or half and half, but milk or water is fine, or I use a combination of. So I have 1 cup water, 1 cup milk in this pot, and I'm heating it up. Then I have 8 tablespoons of butter. Now, also kind of in honor of French and in honor of Julia Childs, so to speak, we're using Pelugra. So this is a French butter. It's absolutely fabulous. You can get it at the local market and stuff usually. You might have to hunt around for it. All right, so we have our water and our milk in our pot along with our Pelugra butter, and it's heating up. Now, while that's heating up, we are gonna end up making some beignets for you guys as well. And so I have a Dutch oven over here, and it has a little bit of oil in it. It's about a third of the way up. I'm gonna add a thermometer to it. I have a flame on underneath it. We want that oil to get to about 350 degrees, okay? So we'll let that just kind of come up there. And then this is pretty much ready now. It's getting really, really close. So we're gonna bring in our other ingredients. We have our flour, our sugar, and our salt. So it ends up being about 3 tablespoons of sugar. It's a pinch of salt, and we're gonna add 2 cups of all-purpose flour to our milk and water mixture. And so we're gonna start by measuring these out. So we're just gonna get in there with a knife and level this out. And here I'm now up to like a simmer, so we're good to go. So I'm gonna dump that in. I'm gonna give it one more, like so. And then I'm gonna add the sugar, and I'm gonna add the salt, and I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna start stirring. Okay, and this is gonna make like a paste. And I'm gonna stir till it all comes apart and away from the bowl, and I'm not seeing any more like dried spots, okay? And I actually cook it for a minute or so, and I sort of get in there and knead it together with my spoon. But you can see it's come all the way from the sides of my bowl. I really don't want to stop stirring because it will brown if I do. And so this is what I'm looking for. It's like I said, it's actually cooking the flour a little bit. Don't mistake this to be a roux. This is not a roux. This is an actual dough. And then once I see it start to turn glossy, that means that the butter's coming out to the surface and it's done. And you can see that, like on my spatula, that it looks a little bit greasy. So that's perfect. That means that the butter's kind of starting to come out of the flour and it's been cooked enough. It happens really, really fast. So I'm gonna get rid of this stuff. And then I'm gonna bring over my mixer, and while this is all still hot, you wanna do this all in succession. You don't wanna like go wait or go do anything after this is done. This needs to be hot. And so, and lift up my mixer. So I have my paddle attachment, really important. Don't use the whisk, it's just gonna grab it and spin inside the whisk. I'm gonna add the dough to the mixer, just like so. And then I have eggs, and I'm cheating a little bit. I'm gonna add some baking powder kind of right towards the end. Now, let me knock this down. Now, I've seen and I've heard about this before, For our eggs, it's 4 to 5 whole eggs, depending on the size. And the more you get used to doing this, the more you get used to seeing it, you'll know exactly how many eggs to add to the recipe. All depends on the size of the eggs. But I want the eggs whole, and I want to crack them into a measuring cup. No way, shape, or form do I want to be cracking and adding it in here as this mixer's turning. If I do that and I lose a shell in there, you're done. The dough's done. The dough's going to have shell in it. You'll never get it out. It'll break up the shell. So crack the eggs into a measuring cup and just be ready. So I'm going to get this turned on, get it stirring, see how hot it still is by the steam coming out. And then I'm going to add 1 egg at a time. I'm going to let that incorporate. And turn it up a little bit more. Let that fully incorporate, and then add another egg. You can see also why I don't want the eggs to be scrambled. I want the eggs whole so I can watch them drop into the mixer. All right, so that's fully incorporated. Then I'm going to add another one. Now, reason why I've waited for the baking powder to go in is baking powder works off of heat. Difference between baking powder and baking soda is baking soda works off of liquid and starts fizzing and rises. Baking powder works off of heat. So if I add this too early, I'm going to basically use it up, and it's not going to even affect anything. So I'm going to add it in now. And then I'm going to add, that's my 4th egg. So that will incorporate. I'm going to turn it up. And I'm going to check it. All right. So now I'm just kind of getting here with my hands. And I'm just looking at it. And this looks pretty good. It's, you know, it's doughy, but yet it's pipeable. I want it to be able to go through a pastry bag. It's sticky, but it's not too loose. See how it's like standing up. It's holding its peaks. So like that's what I mean by a peak. When I come off, see how that's not falling down right away? All right, so I have a really clever way to fill a pastry bag. You know, the way I was taught in culinary school is that, you know, you have your tip, whatever that tip may be. I could use like a fluted tip, you know, and you can make swans with this. You can make all kinds of different shapes. But this is just a straight tip, so that goes into the bag first. And then how I was taught to fill a bag is you kind of use it like a puppet, you know, and you fill. But what I've found a lot easier is use some sort of just big cup. Usually somebody has a big cup, or you might even be able to get away with a mason jar. And we're just going to stick this in here, and we're going to fill it. And it makes it a lot easier, especially when you're by yourself. You got nobody helping you. So now I'm going to get our pastry bag filled like so. I'm going to set this off to the side. And see, we're nice and clean. I'm going to push our dough all the way down to where it's coming out the end. Rid of our cup. And then we're going to bring over our sheet pan. And one of the first things is if I start piping this on here, it's just going to lift the paper up. And I'll show you an example. So if I go down on here, and then I lift up. See, it wants to bring the paper up with me. So one of the things that I've seen and I like to do is I'll do just a little tiny piece of dough underneath each corner. And in that way, I'm free to just start piping. One more. All right, so now this would be my cream puffs. So I want to come straight up, it's like so. Straight up, it's like so. And I'm going to do like 4 of these. Now, what I do is take a little bit of water. And what we don't want is those peaks. So then we'll just dab our finger in water and we're just going to push them down. So it makes this nice kind of round ball on here. So perfect. Those will be our cream puffs. All right, so now for our eclairs, they're a little bit trickier. I'm going to come along the side here. I'm going to fill like so, kind of holding the bag straight up and down and filling up. Up. So almost making like little caterpillars, right? Just like that. All right, then I'm going to take my finger again. I'm going to knock these down. These are going to go into the oven at 450 degrees. Really, really hot, or else they're not going to puff. All right, so really, really hot for 12 minutes. Then we're going to turn the oven down to 350, and we're going to cook it another 12 minutes. Then from there, most people that I've talked to, they actually like to just shut the oven off and you kind of let them dry out. And the thing is if they're still too wet on the inside, they're going to collapse. So these are going to puff up and they're going to be hollow. And let's hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Let me get these in the oven. The oven's at 450. And you know what? If you have convection at home on your oven with the fan in the back, this is the perfect time to use it. The hotter, the more consistent the heat in the oven, the more rise you're going to get out of these. All right? So let me get these in the oven and we'll be right back. Now we're going to do cream puffs and eclairs. These are our eclairs. And what I'm going to start with is you can either cut them or you can just fill them. But I wanted to cut one and show you guys the inside here. It's full and spongy and it looks delicious. So I'm going to go through and here, let me cut a cream puff for you. And these cream puff size, they can be also eclairs. You can utilize these as mini eclairs and you can see the inside of those. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and cut all of the cream puffs open, just like so. And then I also have a little bit of chocolate here that I melted. So now that I have all the cream puffs cut, I like to cut my eclairs as well. So I'm going to just cut the lids right off. And so they're in 2 different, and I just open them up so they're right next to each other. So I know which top goes with which, just like so. And then I'm going to take the tops, and I'm going to take my melted chocolate, and I'm just going to dip like so and let them set up. More chocolate, the merrier, right? So that's the top of my chocolate eclairs. Just like so. And then now I'm going to fill my cream puffs while my chocolate sets up. So I just have some straight up whipped cream here. So it's whipped cream, vanilla, and a little powdered sugar. And I'm just going to fill the ends of each one of these with quite a bit of it. Just like that. And then I'm going to set the tops on. Just like so. See, those look amazing. Then I'm going to take my pastry cream and I'm going to fill the eclairs. Just like that. And then I'm going to lift the chocolate up and onto them. Like so. Clean my hands here. And then from here, I'm going to go ahead and plate them. And then I have some powdered sugar that we'll put on top of the cream puffs. And we're just going to take these, set these on the side. Chocolate eclairs and cream puffs. So those are fit for a king. We're going to come right back. And we're just gonna keep trucking on our French desserts. So now we're gonna make some French crepes. Crepes is like a French pancake. You can do a million things with them. You can make them savory, you can make them sweet. They sell them on the streets of Paris. You know, we can do just about anything with crepes. I've even seen crepe cakes. And they're definitely a Paris street food. And so my wife talks about them all the time. She loves crepes. So the best way that I like to do them is in a blender. So it's really simple. And the whole idea with the blender is we actually want to get some of the gluten in the flour going. So it has structure. So the crepe has structure. Otherwise, it's an omelet with a little bit of flour in it, and it's not going to hold together. All right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take our blender, and versus like every other way of mixing ingredients, which most of the time you mix dry, wet on top of dry. So dry goes in the bowl first and then wet on top of that and you mix. With this, we want to do the opposite or else the blender isn't going to work. So I'm going to start with my eggs. And so that was 8 eggs, 8 to 9 eggs, okay? Then I'm going to add 1 cup of water, 2 cups of milk, set this all aside. I'm going to add 8 tablespoons of butter, melted butter. Then I'm going to go in with 3 pinches of salt, so just pinch, pinch, pinch. Like a 1/4 cup of sugar, and you know, if you're doing savory, you can omit the sugar. Sugar doesn't have any structure, all it's doing is offering flavor, so we're making sweet ones today. And then I want 2 cups of flour, so I'm just going to get in here and level off cups of flour. Be careful so you don't splash it on yourself. Okay, 2 cups of flour. So then, take my blender. All right, so now we turn on the blender. And this one has a variable speed, so I'm going to start low and slowly bring it up. And I'm just going to let the blender run for a minute. And the other thing that I have going here is a little bit of melted butter. All right, that's all it takes. So if you didn't hear me, the other thing that I have going here is a little bit of melted butter. That's going to be for the cooking. So let's talk all about this. So the next thing that we have here is we need a really good egg pan. Some sort of nonstick pan. You can make crepes however you want. And how a lot of people have seen them these days is there'll be this big pedestal, right? And it's cast iron and it's got the burner underneath it. And they pour the batter on and they use this deal to kind of go around the outside to spread the crepe batter. And it's really fun to look at and it's a great show. It takes some time to learn that technique. This is the easy way to do it, all right? So I actually just take a nonstick pan. Then I have my batter, and this is what's nice about it, is it already has a pour spout. So I'm good to go there. I'm just gonna get rid of all this stuff. I have a ladle for my butter, okay? And then it usually takes 1 or 2 crepes to figure out the correct temperature where you need to be. So I'm gonna just look at my flame here, and I almost want kind of a little bit of a sizzle when I add the butter. Okay, not too much. That's maybe a little bit high, so I'm gonna lower it a little bit more. Then what I wanna do is I wanna get the pan fully coated with butter, and then I want to pour any excess butter out. Okay, I want to pour any excess butter out. Take my crepe batter and go into the pan. And then I want this to fully coat the pan, just like that. All right, so I let that sit. I let that cook. Now, it kind of helps to have tempered fingers when you do this. Like, a lot of people are a little bit shocked when they watch me make crepes. I do need a rubber spatula, but I'm gonna get in here with my fingers is the idea. Now, something I don't need to do this, but something I thought of is you could have a little bowl of ice water here that maybe you put your fingers into first. And not that you're trying to get them wet, but that you're trying to get them cold. And so then you go into here and grab this. I do need a lot of times a little edge. And the brownness of the crepe too is something that you can work on yourself. Like, do you want it more brown? Do you want it less brown? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give this a flip. I think this is looking pretty good. So I'm gonna just lift it up a little bit, set that down, and I'm just picking it up and flipping it over. Just like so. Now I'm letting this side cook. Now, I made a bunch earlier, so I'm gonna bring those up. And here's some crepes for you, okay? Just quite a few of them, all right? And then I'm gonna take this one, and once I feel like this one's done, I'm going to lift this one out of here and set it down. All right, let's do another one. All right, so touch of butter. And like I said, so say I get way too much butter in there. That's fine. Get your pan coated and then pour out the excess. Then we go in with the crepes. And here's something else that sometimes I like to do. I've had a couple disasters doing this. But say I get a bunch of crepe batter in there. And I don't want to make the crepes too thick, right? I'll get it like this, and then I'll pour the excess crepe batter out of there as well, okay? Then I set my pan back down. Now you got this tab on the side, which isn't a big deal. I'll just use my rubber spatula to cut it off, and I can remove it, throw that in the trash. And then I just wait for this. Kind of thinness is the name of the game here. I want them nice and thin. I don't want to over brown them because they get crispy when you over brown them. And we just kind of watch our heat and see where our heat's at. Almost feel like I could turn this up a touch, but that's pretty much right where you want it. You're like, man, should it be cooking quicker? And sometimes you do need to, but I'm gonna resist on trying to turn up the flame here. And I'm looking at it too, and I can see through here that it's not quite fully cooked, where the egg or the batter's a little bit thicker than you would necessarily like it. But that's the uniqueness about crepes as well, is they are unique. They do feel homemade. At the same time, they also feel like a lot of time and passion. I mean, crepes are supposed to like kind of take you home and give you this essence of like being on the streets of Paris. And that's what we want. That's what we want out of these. So I'm ready to flip and just get it up and over. It takes a little practice. Yes, it's a little bit hot, but it's only hot for a second. It's not actually burning me, okay? And so now we're just kind of toasting slightly this other side, and then we'll get rid of it. We'll set it off to the side. So now that I have a bunch of crepes, there's so many different things I can do with it. So I can roll these up with gravlax and salmon. I can make a salad and put inside of them. I am going to put pastry cream in them and strawberries. That's what we're doing today. I can put Nutella inside of them. I can do some sort of jam or jelly or some sort of preserve. I can make different purees to go inside of them. Bananas are great. I mean, the sky's the limit, you guys. Let alone, I'm going to show you guys a little technique that I do here, and we're going to crisp them up and use them almost like a tart shell as well. So we have a bunch of different ways that we're going to kind of be able to utilize all the desserts that we did today. All right, let me get this out. And just making it a lot of fun. So I am going to make a few more crepes. And we'll be right back. I can do these however. We brought our crepes out and we have our pastry cream and some whipped cream. So I can do these however. Like I can just sort of fill them like so. And then I have some strawberries here. And I can fold them up in a bunch of different ways. So for this one, you can just kind of like roll it like a burrito. And you almost turn it into like a blitz. Okay, so there's that way. Another way would be I'll fill it again, kind of in a triangle, like so. And then from here, I'm going to throw some strawberries on it. And you know what? I'm going to make another little triangle. And a few more strawberries. And then I'm going to fold it over. And then right in between each triangle, I'm going to fold it over again. So then it looks like so. So I can go all the way forward with this. I can put this up on its edge. And I'll do a couple of these. All those double triangles tell me is this is where I'm folding it. Okay, so I fold over into a triangle. And then I just sort of stack them. I'll do one more. I think this is the more Frenchy way of doing it. I can also add different berries. Let's go with some blueberries on this other layer. And I'll fold over. And then fold this way. And set it up like so. All right. So, then from here, I can take caramel sauce. Just like so, go in one direction. I can take chocolate sauce and go in a different direction. like so. And then I can take whipped cream. Just like that. And if you want, a touch of powdered sugar. And there we have our crepes. And they look gorgeous. You can then take crepes and you can make them crispy, okay? So I've done ones where I've actually put crepes inside of like these salad bowl maker things, and it's like for like a healthy way to have a tostada salad, so to speak. But I can lay a crepe in here, and I'll just show you one really fast. I can take a crepe, and I can lay it in here, and I can put that in the oven, okay? And it'll get crispy, and I can turn that into anything sweet or savory. So that's one thing to do. But then what I've also done to do minis for like parties and stuff is I'll use the fluted side of a cutter. And I'll just cut down through these. It's like this. And now I end up with these little crepes. And then I just use 2 fingers to push them down in. And I go through and I set them all in. And then I go into like a 300 to 250 to 300 degree oven. And I just want to like dry them out, and it makes them crispy. And then they look like this, okay? So this is ready to go. So then what I can do is I could start off with a little bit of chocolate sauce in the bottom of some of them, right? Do that to a couple. I can do caramel sauce in the other ones, right? Then I can take my pastry cream and I can fill them. Like so. And then I can take berries. And I can add like a strawberry or a raspberry and a blackberry. Set that off to the side. I could do all blueberries. Set that one out there. Maybe one all raspberries. And they make like these little French fruit tarts, which are amazing, especially when you have like that chocolate or that caramel sauce on the bottom. And they're just awesome, just phenomenal. These little bite-sized fruit berry tarts. I'd like to introduce my wife, Tara Sevely. You know, we're about a month away. We've done a few shows now where we're expecting, but from here on out, we'll probably be doing shows with our little girl, River. So anyways, I always bring my wife up at the end, and I love her to taste my stuff. She loves these French desserts. And so you want to try some creme brulee, right? So on here, we talked about it, is it going to crack? So this is the big triumphant moment is, and you can see how it comes up like it's glass. And so it's not going to cut you or anything, but here you go, babe. Is that amazing? All right, so I'm going to try some myself.
You can taste the orange.
Really
good.
It is. The orange really makes it. So what we did today, we did cream puffs, we did chocolate eclairs, we did creme brulee with a hint of orange, we did crepes, and we did little mini crepe tarts. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as we did this French desserts with flavor of Riverside. My name's Chef Robert Sevely. This is Tara Sevely. This is us saying, keep cooking.